Welcome to today's edition of the Anaglyph Jukebox. You never know what you'll find on the old jukebox. Let's press B31. Okay, we've got dogs in space in 3D. Laika was a wonderful dog, quiet and very placid. Before the flight to the Cosmodrome, I once brought her home and showed her to my children. They played with her. I wanted to do something nice for the dog. She had so little time left to live. Dr. Vladimir Yadovatsky. The Soviet space dog program ran from 1951 to 1966 with a total of 42 flights, 79 dogs, and 20 fatalities. Over the past 62 years, 642 people have flown into space and 19 have died, 15 astronauts and 4 cosmonauts. The Russian space program began in earnest after World War II. Suborbital flights with canine passengers first launched on August 22, 1951. There were 22 flights with 44 dogs and 11 casualties. These flights all had planned recoveries. Sputnik 2, carrying the first animal into Earth orbit, would not. The details of this orbital flight and of the entire Soviet space dog program were not publicly revealed until October 2002. After placing Laika in the container and before closing the hatch, we kissed her nose and wished her bon voyage, knowing that she would not survive the flight. Sputnik 2 was rushed into production by Soviet Premier Nikita Khrushchev, who wanted to further outdistance the American space program after the huge success of Sputnik 1. He demanded a launch time to commemorate the 40th anniversary of the October Revolution, November 7, 1957. But their next satellite would not be ready until December. This left less than 4 weeks to design and build the spacecraft. Inadequate heat shielding, a thermal control that did not operate properly, and useless fans were all the results of this rush. The temperature inside the capsule went up to 104 degrees. After 3 hours of weightlessness, Laika's pulse rate returned to normal. The crude telemetry of the time indicated she was agitated, though able to eat her food. 7 hours into the flight, on its 4th orbit of Earth, the signals stopped. Laika had died from overheating. For 45 years, the Soviets maintained the fiction that Laika lived for 6 days, claiming that she was euthanized when her oxygen ran out. The London Times called her the, quote, fuzziest, loneliest, unhappiest dog in the world. Stray mongrel dogs off the streets of Moscow were chosen as passengers because it was believed they already knew how to endure hunger and cold and were tougher than domestic dogs. Pet ownership was considered a decadent Western practice at the time, and few could afford it anyway. Laika weighed 13 pounds and was likely a husky terrier mix. She was given several different names, but the one that stuck was Laika, meaning barker. All the dogs were extensively trained. They were flown on planes, rode centrifuges, put in machines that simulated the noises of the spacecraft, and placed in ever smaller crates to get them used to the confines of spaceflight. For food, they were taught to eat a high-nutrition gel. While Laika's orbit of the Earth was celebrated across the globe, there was some backlash over her involuntary sacrifice. For their next flight, the Soviets planned to bring the dogs home safely. There were 12 more suborbital flights with 24 dogs. 6 died. Then on August 19, 1960, a new pair of canine cosmonauts, Belka and Strelka, spent a full day in space, making 18 orbits and were recovered safely. They instantly became the 2 most famous dogs on Earth. For completing this historic journey, they received their favorite treat, a piece of halva made of sesame seeds and honey. Laika did not live to see her accomplishments celebrated, but Belka and Strelka were treated like the heroes and celebrities they were. Their flight included the first live TV footage beamed from space to Earth. The entire world watched Strelka happily spinning in zero gravity, while Belka remained cautious and reserved. As with Laika before them, Belka and Strelka were commemorated both officially and commercially, wearing their red and green spacesuits, on a staggering array of merchandise, including books, stamps, badges, children's toys, postcards, chocolates, cigarettes, matches, ornaments, posters, paperweights, watches, and clocks, and more. Strelka later had a healthy litter of 6 puppies, and one, Pushinka, was sent to Carolyn Kennedy, the young daughter of JFK. Afraid that the Russians had somehow bugged the dog, the puppy was thoroughly examined before being turned over to the White House, which shows the level of fear and tension that existed at that point in the Cold War. Belka and Strelka spent their remaining years under the care of the state at the Institute of Aviation Medicine. They were occasionally photographed and interviewed over the years, but remained modestly quiet. Neither one ever spoke about their great accomplishment.